Dead by Daylight is a game full of bugs, toxicity, and thick butts. I mean, just look at this ass. Don't you wanna just grab it like... No wonder why so many people like Dead by Daylight. Thick butts. But if there is Dead by Daylight 1 and it is successful, shouldn't there be Dead by Daylight 2? I mean, we have games like Call of Duty 2, Halo 2, Overwatch 2, Path of Exile 2, Ark 2. All of these games had to be successful for their sequels to be in development, and Dead by Daylight earns an estimated $90,000 a year, which means it is a very successful game. For years I have been wondering, will there ever be Dead by Daylight 2? After all, we know how broken Dead by Daylight is, and this is a perfect opportunity for developers to create something less broken. So do I think that there will be Dead by Daylight 2? The short answer is no, there won't be Dead by Daylight 2. And if you are satisfied with this answer, then you can click out of this video. But if you wonder why, then keep on watching. And if you want to support me, please subscribe to this channel. It helps me tremendously. I make different kinds of Dead by Daylight videos and I really need your support. Thank you. With that out of the way, let's get into this video. Okay, so first of all, I will show you this article from last year, which is called Dead by Daylight creators are thinking of other projects but have no current sequel plans. It makes no sense to come up with a new game and tell these people, well, you can now choose. You either play Dead by Daylight or you can play Dead by Daylight 2, the creative director of Dead by Daylight said. I don't think we stand to gain that much from creating a brand new game. The worst part is we would have to stop working on Dead by Daylight, and that is not acceptable at this point. This interview proves that Dead by Daylight developers are committed to working on Dead by Daylight, and that is the reason why they are releasing all of those free graphical upgrades to character models and maps. I think that developers would have thought about the sequel if Dead by Daylight was slowly dying, but at this point Dead by Daylight is more successful than ever. Now it has more players than ever on Steam and it's still growing. The player base is still growing. It means that DLC sales are going as well for them as candy sales are going in the candy shop. Knowing how greedy these developers are, why would they abandon a money-making machine for something that is risky? That's the main reason there will not be Dead by Daylight 2. At least in the next 10 years I don't see it happening. And all of those people who say Dead by Daylight is dying, no, they are not right. It's what they think, but it's not reality. Dead by Daylight is doing better than ever, and there's no reason for them to make Dead by Daylight 2. I think instead of making a sequel, developers will keep changing the graphics, movement, and all the other outdated systems. It will cost them much less than making something from scratch. I wouldn't even be surprised to see another graphical update to all the maps in like 5 to 10 years. Another reason why there won't be Dead by Daylight 2 is the licensed chapters. Think logically, how many licenses have Dead by Daylight bought? They bought Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on the Elm Street, Halloween. They bought a bunch of extremely expensive licenses. They even have Left 4 Dead, Resident Evil, and Silent Hill inside of the game. They paid so much of money for every single chapter that they couldn't even update Quentin's face for 2 years because he was a licensed character. But the money is not the problem. The problem is that it's extremely hard to get licenses for those characters. And I bet that some of those companies wouldn't give Dead by Daylight a second chance to get the license for certain killers. And we as fans of Dead by Daylight would obviously want our favorite characters to be in Dead by Daylight 2, but the reality is that it's extremely hard to get all of those licenses once again. But there are some pros of Dead by Daylight not getting a sequel. For example, it's that everything you do, you progress in the game, you prestige, you rank up, maybe you buy a bunch of cosmetics or do every single challenge. It matters because it saves for, you can think that it saves for the whole life, and maybe it will. I spent so much of time in Dead by Daylight and I think it's worth it, because if somebody in like 5 years asks me, where have you invested your 2000 or more hours, I will proudly show Dead by Daylight and what I have achieved in the game, because it will still be there from the day one I started playing all the way to that day. The reality is that we don't know how Dead by Daylight will last. Maybe there will be like some secret sequel and I'm completely wrong, but I think in this video I told everything I thought and I think I'm correct. I strongly believe that I'm correct. Anyway, if you disagree, then comment, feel free to comment. I will read all of your comments, and if you think you are right, we can have a little discussion over there. Subscribe please, it helps me tremendously, and to make me smile, don't forget to like this video. Thank you very much, see you later.